that breeze through your window looks so lovely. I want to open mine now. Has ever got nice windows open this morning? Okay, we'll get started. So for those who haven't joined this class yet, I'm Cassandra, and yeah, we're in everyday stretches. So we'll be here until 10:45 today. The hope for this class is that it offers a lot of spaciousness for your own movement exploration. So I'll offer you cues and we'll be here together, but know that if things don't feel right for you or you need to move in a different way, like you have all of that permission and space for yourself. So we're gonna get started actually just sitting in some kind of easy seat. You might place a blanket underneath your bottom or a block or just the ground, however you find an easy seat this morning. Just taking a couple of moments to do that. Hey, Gretchen. And as we settle into the space and honor our arrival together, you might place your hands along some part of your body. Maybe it's your knees or a hand along your chest and your belly, or even just rooted into the ground this morning, but making contact with your palms on a part of yourself or the ground. Thinking about each of your vertebrae in your spine stacked neatly on top of one another. Thinking about the crown of your head reaching for the ceiling or the sky, and even like a little tuck of your chin here. We'll give some space here this morning to let go of what's come before, whether that's caretaking or sleeping or lots of feelings, allowing that to be what was before and coming into this present moment. So if you're comfortable, you can close your eyes or your eyes can have a soft gaze towards the ground. And maybe you begin to notice a sound that's furthest away from you. Maybe it's even outside of your home. Whatever the sound is, you can softly and gently name it to yourself, acknowledging the wind or traffic, neighbors, and let's come in a little bit closer. Maybe there are sounds within your home. My dog breathing, children chattering. And what about a sound just a bit closer to yourself? Can you listen for your own breath? Inhaling through your nose and exhaling out wherever. The sound of my own breath. A few more moments here, a few more breaths here. When you're ready, just bringing the bottoms of your feet together, a bit of a butterfly. You can flutter your legs if you'd like, or you can find stillness here. Just gonna wake our limbs up a bit. Let them know we're gonna give them some activation. And then when you feel ready, extending your legs out long, and then beginning to point and flex your toes here, your feet. They might alternate, like left point, right flex, or you might do them in sync with each other. Trying not to hold your breath. Few more breath cycles here. You might move in some circles with your ankles in one direction and then the next. And if you haven't started the playlist, now would be a good time. You can wrap up your ankle rolls, press play in the Spotify list if you'd like. It's in that chat again for people who don't want to maybe pull the email up. It's also optional unless you'd like to practice silent, which is totally fine too. And then once your music gets going, we're all going to meet in a child's pose. Thinking about your child's pose this morning, maybe your knees will be real wide, like maybe even wider than the mat, or they might come together this morning. However you land, surrendering that forehead to the ground. Offering yourself a little sway here, if that's supportive. And then let's just commit to holding the child's pose for about 10 or 12 breaths here. Breathing in through your nose, out through wherever. For your last few breaths, your position of your arms might change. If they're up overhead, you might bring them alongside of your body. Just exploring a little bit of movement here in the child's pose. I'm gonna pull up a poem to read for you all this morning. So I've been thinking a lot about the dying that has to happen so that there's space for the aliveness. So this reading feels like maybe the first part of that. It's called Learning from Trees by Grace Butler. If we could, like the trees, practice dying, do it every year just as something we do, like going on vacation or celebrating birthdays, it would become as easy a part of us as our hair or clothing. Someone would show us how to lie down and fade away as if in deepest meditation, And we would learn about the fine, dark emptiness, both knowing it and not knowing it. And coming back would be irrelevant. Whatever it is the trees know when they stand undone, surprisingly intricate, we need to know also so we can allow that last thing to happen to us as if it were only any ordinary thing. Leaves and lives falling away, the spirit complex waiting in the fine darkness to learn which way it will go. So you can begin to walk your hands and arms towards the right side of your mat, finding that side body stretch right alongside the left side body, maybe through the shoulder and the armpit down into the hip. Breathing all the while. Take 2 more full breath cycles here. Inhaling through your nose, exhaling out wherever. And 1 more. And then on your next inhale, you can begin to walk your hands to the other side of your mat, finding that side body stretch now along the right. Thinking about the space you can offer each rib, each space between the rib. A few more breaths here. Coming back to center now on an inhale. Take your time. And then once you land here, we're going to lead with our heart across the mat, finding our whole front body on the ground now. So sort of allowing that heart to slide. There you go, just like that, across the mat. And let's take up a whole bunch of space here this morning. Sometimes in yin yoga, we call this a starfish pose, but you can stretch each limb out. Arms can come out to a T. Your legs can lengthen. They might come real wide off the mat. Just find somewhere comfortable and supportive to land. Maybe you offer yourself a little scan, a little body scan starting at the bottom of your body, starting at your feet, and work your way up. Just noticing if there's tension, noticing if there's something you can do about the tension, or maybe it's just naming it and moving on. Really just noticing. Be here for just about 10 more breaths or so. In through your nose. And exhale. Can you give some attention to the parts of you that expand as you breathe in the air along the mid-back, the belly or chest pressed against the ground? Can it expand too? Throughout the ribs. Feeling your own expansion, your own aliveness. Wherever you are in your breath cycle, bring one more inhale and exhale. And then on your next inhale, we're going to move into half frog. So you'll just bring your left knee up towards the chest here. And create, maybe it's like a 90-degree angle at the inside of your knee here, or it might be much wider. That front body still stays planted on the ground. And this is just about as much about the stretch in the left hip as it is about the extension in that right. Check in with your butt cheeks here. If you're clenching at all, can you release? Give yourself a little bit more room. Just be here a short while longer. Can we think about our breath as that cycle of dying and aliveness, bringing the aliveness into our lungs on an inhale, and surrendering, releasing, letting go, dying a little on the exhale. Extending the left leg, if that's the one that's come up closer to your chest, extending it back. Pausing or tending to your body in whatever way needs to happen before you move to the other side. I forgot to mention, like, you might even place a blanket or something like comfortable underneath your knee if you have any knee issues. You can always support the inside of the knee with a blanket or sweater, pillow. few more breaths here. Inhaling through your nose. Exhaling out of your mouth through your nose. Nice, everybody. Releasing that leg back down to the ground now, straightening it, lengthening it. Finding the belly and then tucking your elbows in towards your chest here, palms flat, and you can just move through a few of your own cobras, or maybe your expression of a cobra is a bit bigger this morning, but it'll be an inhale, lifting up. Exhale, forehead back to the ground. It might be really big, like a seal pose in yin. See if you can lead the movement with your heart and your breath here. Just a few rounds in your own time, in your own space. And then when you're ready, you're going to come to all fours. You'll think about your wrists underneath your shoulders for the most part, your knees lined up with your hips here. And really just tapping in, noticing the foundation of the pose, being everything that touches the ground here, right? That's rooted to the earth. Starting with all 10 of our fingers spread out wide against our mats, the whole palm of our hand, the tops of the knees and the shins, maybe the tops of the feet, or if your toes are tucked, the bottoms of your toes. Just breathing here a few rounds. Think about the crown of your head reaching for the wall in front of you if there is a wall. Just trying not to dump into your head and neck here. It's a place I often go when I come into all fours. And then you're gonna stay real rooted in the right side of your body, right palm, right knee, top of the right shin and the foot. The left leg is going to extend back, and the bottom of the foot will become parallel with your mat. You can all see here. And then when you're ready, and if you're ready, you're gonna open up towards the sky here. Your gaze might be towards the tips of your fingers, or it might be straight ahead. Reach the arm overhead. Maybe a circle or two. And then come back to all fours. The other side now, reading really rooted in the left side of the body, extending the right leg. The foot becomes parallel with the bottom of the mat, reaching up. Again, tap into your neck here. You may not want to gaze towards the fingertips. It might just be a gaze towards the front of this, or towards the screen. Arm overhead, stretch nice and big. A couple circles if you're feeling it. and then back to all fours. From here, we're gonna move into a rabbit pose, a gentle inversion. So thinking about your elbows becoming like points of the triangle, you'll clasp your hands together, they'll become the third point of the triangle, and the back of the head is going to land in your open hands. And then something important I practice here is thinking about dispersing the weight of your body along all of the parts of your body that are supported by the earth, right? So not just dumping into the head and neck here, but allowing your elbows, the outsides of your arms to support you, the tops of the knees and shins to support you here. Just taking notice of the world upside down for a few breaths. Inhaling through your nose if you can. And then if it feels right, you might tuck your toes here and just begin to lift up. You might walk your feet a little bit closer to your head and then walk them back again. Just noticing the weight that lands on the elbows and shoulders and the head. A few rounds of that if you'd like, and then coming back to child's pose. Coming to an easy seat once more, take your time. We're gonna do some neck and shoulder work here. Once you land in your easy seat, your right arm is gonna come up overhead, reaching for the left ear, and then just gently bring your right ear towards your right shoulder. You can explore some self-massage or touch here, or you may just keep that other hand rooted on the ground. Gazing towards the ground now, nose towards the ground. Gaze back up. That right hand reaches for the right ear now, brings you back to neutral. Right arm gets rooted, left arm up and overhead. Reaching for the right ear, pulling the left ear towards the left shoulder. Gaze towards the ground, nose towards the ground. Gaze back towards the screen, bringing your left hand to your left ear now and coming to neutral. And then just moving, looking towards the left, looking towards the right. Just a few rounds like that. Back to neutral, chin to chest. Gaze up. Chin to chest again. Gazing back up. And then coming back to center. Okay, you can all take your time, but we're gonna stand next. Once we stand, we'll just begin by finding a mountain pose. I'm gonna do lots of cues here. So your feet will be about hip distance apart, maybe a bit wider. Think about a micro bend in your knees, just like that little bounce that you can create. And then if you're comfortable, your hands will come to your pubic bone, and the inside of your wrist or your arm will come to those bony protrusions, those ASIS they're called, right? So fingertips on pubic bone if you're comfortable, insides of your wrist come to the ASIS, and then thinking about coming to neutral in your pelvis, right? So I do this cue a lot with people, so I know it's repetitive for lots of you, but we think about posterior, anterior tilts a lot, and offering our pelvis some sort of neutral space here. So if our pubic bone and our ASIS are lined up or in the same plane, that we can be pretty neutral here. So once you feel neutral, then your other hand will come to your chest, and you'll add that chest to that same plane with your pubic bone and ASIS. Your hands can stay alongside your body. If not, palms reaching towards the screen. Elongate that spine, thinking about all of those vertebrae stacked real neatly. Crown of your head reaching for the ceiling. If you've got hair, you might even yank on it, pulling it towards the sky. That sort of automatically tucks that chin. The other cue is to like think about perking up, like you're listening to a conversation happening behind you. And for all those cues, we'll stay in this mountain pose for about 10 breaths or so on your own, inhaling through your nose if you can, and exhaling through your mouth. I'd also just like to say something about the inhaling through your nose. We've talked about it before in a few classes that I've taught, but our nose, our nostrils are our first line of defense. And so if we can we have like 20,000, 25,000 breaths in a day, right? So lots of them will be healthy and some of them will not be so healthy, but as many healthy breaths and those 20,000 opportunities as we can do, the better off we'll serve our bodies, right? So if we inhale through our nose, that's our first line of defense for environmental allergens or bacteria or virus, things like that. Also, it provides moisture if the air is dry, and it also helps dehumidify our air coming in if the air is moist around us. And our lungs really appreciate our breaths through our nose. Just practice 2 more cycles here. And then when you're ready, just kind of give yourself a nice shake it out. You might even do a big kind of movement here where your arms sort of wrap around your body here. And slowing the movement down. Nice, everybody. We'll do this round of shoulder stretches that I really like. So it's trying to move the scapula in all different directions. So stay standing. Hopefully you all can hear if I turn around. If not, someone can unmute themselves and let me know. Otherwise, the movement is going to start just by rolling each shoulder individual of itself. Just big circles with each shoulder. And then your arms come out like a big bear hug and your fingertips will come to meet each other like this, opening and then closing, fingertips together. This is a retract and a protract of our scapula. Just a few more rounds on your own. And then arms, elbows come tucked towards your sides here, and it's a kind of a flapping open. And then hands back down onto your chest, and then flapping open. Noticing what the shoulder blades are doing, the movement in the scapula here. A few more. And then it's like a goalpost, right? And we'll move, twist to the right in your ribs, and then to your left, on your own, a few rounds. And then hands up overhead here, and you'll isolate the movement. So the scapula will try to move up and down the back here. A few more. Drop the hands, pull the shoulder blades together, release. Pull the shoulder blades together and release. Pull them together once more and release. All right, we're gonna get a little bit more alive here and bring some more activation in. This is a practice that I started doing at the beginning of quarantine, and it really helped to create a container, right? A container for my body. So it might feel funny at first, but we're gonna practice it together. So it's just gonna look like patting your left leg, starting at your ankle, moving all the way up your leg and back down again. If you're feeling really goofy, you can even say out louder to yourself, this is my left leg. This is my left leg. Switching to the right side. This is my right leg. When you feel ready, and only when you feel ready, moving on to the left arm. This is my left arm. And then to your right arm when you're ready. This is my right arm. And then to your belly. Maybe there are other body parts that need your attention or need some help finding their edges, their parameter. You can move all the way up to your chest if you like, or your lower back, wherever you're feeling it this morning, just giving yourself another minute or so. Just exploring the container of your body that holds you, holds all of your feelings, holds you together here. Bringing stillness, your hands might place on your body somewhere. Again, noticing that expansion on an inhale and the release and the letting go on the exhale. Your hands can come up overhead now. Your right wrist will, your right hand will grab your left wrist. And you'll find that stretch now to the right. Think about both of your hip pointers still facing the front of the room. Lots of spaciousness through the ribs. The space in between the ribs called the intercostal spaces. Back to center. You might even look up towards your fingertips and then finding the stretch on the other side. Back up towards center and then allow yourself to surrender into a forward fold or a ragdoll. Giving yourself lots of grace this morning. You might have wide legs or big bent knees. Just surrendering here. We can check in with our head and neck that we've allowed gravity to support us. You might sort of shake your head no here. Let's see if we can find stillness in this forward fold. Maybe 10 breaths. Inviting that good stress, that good stretch in. See if for your last few breaths, you can release into the fold just a little bit more. And on your next inhale, slowly coming to a halfway lift. Exhale, surrender once more. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale once more. And then slowly rising, taking all the time you need. All right. Once you've landed, I have to remember the series of this pose. I think I might have to do it. Okay, so you're gonna take one big step with your right foot forward. Left foot stays rooted. Your arms are gonna come up like this. Fingertips facing forward, palms nice flat, shoulders dropped. And then you're gonna lift up into your toes here, rising into your toes. Inhale that way, exhale, release back to the ground. A couple more times like that, inhaling up on your toes, exhaling back the heels to the ground. On the last time, stay rise in your toes and see if you can bend your knees here. Dropping, then coming back up. If there's any kind of pain in the knee, you can always close the gap between the feet. See if that helps. Or you don't have to bend in so far. Staying on those toes the whole time if you can. A few rounds like that. Coming back to the heels, releasing the hands, shaking it out. Other side now, left foot leads, takes a big step forward. Hands out in front of you, palms facing the ground, fingertips forward, hands nice and flat, dropping your shoulders. Just begin by practicing rising onto your toes and dropping again. And then when you're ready, stay risen on those toes and a big bend in your knees and back up. Big bend in your knees and back up. Invite a little bit of that shake in. It's about as big as a movement as we'll do today. A few rounds, drop back to your heels and release when you're ready. So let's move into our own version of a squat. If you have a block or a book you'd like to sit on, you can use that to support yourself. Otherwise, a nice big wide stance, and you can begin to lower yourself into your squat. Once you land there, think about some compression, some pressure between your elbows and the insides of your knees here. Is there room for your surrender and your aliveness here? The activation it takes to stay put, and the release of your breath. All right, so the next place I'd like to go, we're gonna stay in our squat, and if we can, we'll place our hands in front of us and we'll just begin to start of like leaning into the weight of our hands here. Like the goal would be to be able to get to crow where we're lifting our toes up off the ground, but let's just practice like going there, right? So forward, all of the weight of yourself into your hands, that lots of pressure between your elbows and the insides of your knees. Maybe your toes come off just a bit. You just kind of fold in and come back up. A few more times. And then when you're ready, you can begin to rise. We'll meet in one more forward fold here. Nice, everyone, just a few more breaths. From your forward fold, we're gonna find the ground again, landing in a constructive rest. However you need to get there, you should do that thing, you should go there. If there's something in between that you'd like to, we're gonna spend the most of the rest of the time on the ground, so maybe we should just allot like the next 2 minutes for some free space. You might need to move into something, whatever that something might be, just giving yourself the opportunity to tend to your body before we all meet in a constructive rest. Please take your time. Spend about 2 more minutes here. There's no rush. For those of you that are ready to move in a constructive rest, it looks something like lying on your back, the bottoms of your feet planted on the earth, the insides of your knees coming together. So for those of you in constructive rest, see if you can kind of just pick some more room for your spine. Sort of some shimmying and adjusting, making more room for the shoulder blades. And noticing if you have an inclination of where your hands should go along your body somewhere, or nice and big up overhead or to the sides. Just inviting stillness in for the next few breaths. And then a windshield wiper movement with your legs here. Paying special attention to your lower back. It's an opportunity to kind of press in, give yourself a little massage here. Oftentimes I have a couple like real juicy places that are like, wait, don't go anywhere, stay right there. That happens, tend to your body, listen in. And once you feel finished with the windshield wipers, just come to bring both knees to the left side, finding a twist here. Your gaze might be towards the opposite directions that your knees have fallen. So if your knees are to the left, your gaze might be towards the right, or it may just be up towards the ceiling. Let's hold the twist or the unraveling for a few breaths. Let's not forget to breathe while we're here. Let an inhale take you to the other side. Thanks, everyone. Once you come back to center, let's tuck both of our knees in towards our chest. You might give yourself a little hug here. You also might find a gentle rock from side to side. And the left foot gets planted on the ground. Right foot crosses over. You could stay here today, or if you'd like a little bit more of a deeper stretch, you can pull the left leg towards your chest. You can also extend that left leg up. Keep it folded. If there's opportunity for your breath to deepen here, see if you can also deepen the stretch, bringing the left leg a little bit closer towards your chest, even if it's like a millimeter. Pull in just a bit closer for the last breath, in through your nose, and then release the legs to the ground on the exhale. Switch sides. Right foot gets planted, left leg crosses over, right leg towards the chest. Maybe you extend that left leg, or the right leg up, or keep it bent. And then just playing around, right? Playing around a little bit with deepening our breath and deepening the stretch. Releasing. Bottoms of the feet real rooted on the ground here, palms on the ground. Just lift up a few times in a bridge, floating yourself up on an inhale, back down on the exhale, or vice versa. And when you finished up with your bridges, offer yourself a minute or two of whatever movement you would like. And then we're going to set ourselves up for a really nice long final resting pose. This does not have to be a Shavasana, by the way. You do not have to lie on the ground. If your meditation practice is sitting against a wall, like it could be whatever you want it to be, right? Whatever you want. Also, please take your time getting there. So just keep in mind that wherever you land, you can always move about, right? But we're gonna have like a 12-minute nice long meditation or shavasana. So take the time that you need to get yourself comfortable using whatever props you brought, blankets or pillows, your couch, a bolster. I'm gonna mute myself real quick and go yell at kids while you all get yourself settled. Got one more poem to read to you all while you settle in here. I'm gonna pull it up. It's by one of the beloved poets of our time, Mary Oliver, right from our backyard. This poem is about when she found out she got sick, actually. It's called The Fourth Sign of the Zodiac. And there's 4 parts to it. I'm gonna move kind of slow through it. Why should I have been surprised? Hunters walk the forest without a sound. The hunter strapped to his rifle, the fox on his feet of silk, the serpent on his empire of muscles, all move in a stillness, hungry, careful, intent, just as the cancer entered the forest of my body without a sound. The question is, what will it be like after the last day? Will I float into the sky, or will I fray within the earth through a river, remembering nothing? How desperate I would be if I couldn't remember the sun rising, if I couldn't remember trees, rivers, if I couldn't even remember beloved, your beloved name. I know you never intended to be in this world, but you're in it all the same. So why not get started immediately? I mean, belonging to it. There is so much to admire, to weep over, and to write music or poems about. Bless the feet that take you to and fro. Bless the eyes and the listening ears. Bless the tongue, the marvel of taste. Bless touching. You could live 100 years. It's happened, or not. I'm speaking from the fortunate platform of many years, none of which I think I ever wasted. Do you need a prod? Do you need a little darkness to get you going? Let me be urgent as a knife then and remind you of Keats, so single of purpose and thinking for a while he had a lifetime. Late yesterday afternoon in the heat, all the fragile blue flowers in bloom in the shrubs in the yard next door had tumbled from the shrubs and lay wrinkled and fading in the grass. But this morning, the shrubs were full of the blue flowers again. There wasn't a single one on the grass. How, I wondered, did they roll back up to the branches that fiercely wanting, as we all do, just a little bit more of life? Holding space for you all for the next 10 minutes of this quiet meditation. For those of you that are lying down, and for those of you that are sitting, maybe you offer your physical body some kind of gentle nudge back. You might open your eyes and close them again, or you may move your tongue to the roof of your mouth and then back down. Wiggle your fingers or toes. And if there's a transition for you in between coming to a seat, you can begin to think about going there, maybe a fetal position or something else. No rush, take your time. Maybe we can create some heat between our palms. And if prayer, Anjali Mudra is in your practice, you can go there now. Thumbs to the sternum, your fingers nice and tall, reaching for the ceiling. Thinking again about the vertebrae of your spine stacked neatly on top of one another, the crown of your head reaching for the ceiling. Close your eyes if you're comfortable, if not, that soft gaze, gentle eyelids. Maybe we can all take a breath together in through our nose and exhale. Maybe that was just the practice and we'll do one more now, in through our nose. And exhale. Thank you so much for all showing up for yourselves and community. I hope that the parts of this practice that resonate, you hold true to your day, you come back to, you remember. Yeah, thank you all.